I've worked at Walmart for about 3 years now, and I thought I'd seen it all. Late shifts, grumpy customers, the usual messes. But there's one night I'll never forget. It started like any other me, a 28-year-old guy named Jake, alone on the night shift, walking the aisles trying to kill time. You wouldn't think anything scary could happen at a place like Walmart, but you'd be wrong. It was around 2 a.m. when I first noticed something was off. The store was dead quiet, save for the sound of the overhead lights humming and the occasional squeak of my shoes against the waxed floors. I was restocking some shelves near the back when I heard footsteps. Soft, like someone was walking down the aisle behind me. I turned around. Nothing. Just the empty rows of products. Probably just a customer. I muttered to myself, trying to shake off the unease. But the footsteps kept coming closer this time. I could hear them again, like someone was pacing behind me. My heart rate picked up. I took a few steps forward, pretending I hadn't heard anything. I figured it could be one of my coworkers or maybe a prank. But when I turned the corner to head back to the storage room, I saw him, a man, standing still, just staring at me from the end of the aisle. It wasn't like he was just browsing, though. No, this guy was too still, too quiet. He didn't even seem to blink. I couldn't make out any real features in the dim lighting, just the silhouette of a person. And the longer I stared at him, the more wrong it felt. He had on a dark hoodie and jeans, nothing particularly out of the ordinary, but there was something unsettling about the way he moved. His steps were slow, almost deliberate, and as he started walking toward me, I swear I felt the temperature drop. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to call out for help, but something told me not to make a sound. There was something off about this whole situation. My legs were frozen, heart pounding in my chest. He stopped right in front of me, and I looked up to meet his eyes, or where his eyes should have been. There was nothing there, just black, empty sockets. The worst part? He smiled. It wasn't a normal smile. It wasn't even a human smile. It was a twisted, distorted grin that stretched far too wide, like it was mocking me. "Hey, Jake," he whispered, the sound crawling into my ear. I don't know how he knew my name, but I couldn't move. I was too terrified to even speak. I just stood there, frozen. Then, without a word, he turned and walked away, disappearing around the corner. I immediately ran to the break room to grab my phone. I wasn't sure who I was supposed to call, but I was done being alone in that store. I tried to call my manager, but the phone line was dead. Not just dead static, like someone was jamming the signal. I figured I'd seen enough, and it was time to clock out. But as I walked toward the front doors, I saw something I never expected. The thing was standing right there, blocking the exit. I tried to back away, but the door slammed shut behind me with a deafening thud. And just like that, the store seemed to come alive. The lights flickered on and off, and strange noises filled the air. The sound of footsteps echoed, but not from the man. I could hear multiple sets of them all around me. It was like the store itself was trapping me, as if it knew I was in danger and was trying to keep me inside. But I couldn't let this thing win. I had to survive. I don't know how long I stood there, staring at the door, trying to figure out my next move. I could feel sweat trickling down my back, my heart racing so fast I thought it might burst from my chest. The lights flickered again, and for a split second, I swear I saw a shadow move behind me. I whipped around, but there was nothing, just the endless aisles of Walmart. And then I heard it again, a low, raspy breath. I didn't turn back this time. I just bolted, running as fast as I could, not even sure where I was going. The sounds of footsteps followed, and not just one set anymore. There were more, far more, almost like a crowd of people, each one getting closer with every breath I took. My chest tightened, but I kept running. I made my way to the aisle with the tools section, hoping maybe I could find something to defend myself. I grabbed a crowbar off the shelf, my hands shaking as I held it, the cold metal digging into my palm. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but it was better than nothing. I heard footsteps behind me again, this time faster, almost running toward me. My body tensed, ready to swing the crowbar at whatever came next. But nothing came. The footsteps stopped. And then, a voice. "You can't leave." I froze. The voice was low, almost a whisper, and it came from right behind me. I could feel the breath on the back of my neck, but when I turned around, there was no one there. Nothing but the empty shelves of tools and cleaning supplies. "You'll never leave." I stumbled back, my mind racing, heart hammering in my ears. That voice, it didn't sound human. It was like something that had been here for years, maybe decades, waiting for someone to hear it. And it wasn't just talking to me anymore. It was speaking to me through me, like it had crawled into my skin and was trying to take over. I looked around, but the aisle was still empty. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. It felt like something was holding my throat closed. It was suffocating. Then I heard a sound, one that made my blood run cold. Clicking. A slow, deliberate clicking noise, like something moving its fingers across the floor, step by step. But when I looked down, there was nothing there. Just the dark, slick floor beneath my feet. The clicking grew louder, and that's when I saw them. Eyes. Dozens of them, all along the shelves, peering out from the shadows. I couldn't make out any faces, but I could feel them staring, watching me. Their gaze was suffocating, like the walls themselves were closing in. It was all happening too fast, too unnaturally. There was no way this was real, but I couldn't deny what was happening. I could hear the whispers growing louder, voices echoing in my ears. "You're trapped. You're one of us now. There's no way out." The temperature had dropped again, and I could see my breath fogging up in front of me. My vision started to blur, but I refused to blink. I kept my eyes locked on the aisle ahead of me, just trying to hold it together. That's when I noticed something even worse. The man, the thing that had been standing by the door earlier, was back. But this time it was different. His body was twitching, jerking in strange, unnatural movements. His head snapped to the side like his neck couldn't bend that way. And his smile, that goddamn smile, it had stretched even wider. Couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I was paralyzed, like the store was sucking the life out of me. But then, I heard something even more horrifying than the whispers, the footsteps, or the laughter. The sound of a child crying. It came from the back of the store, near the electronics section. A child, sobbing uncontrollably, as if something was hurting them. I knew it wasn't real, couldn't be real. There were no kids here at this hour, but I couldn't help it. I had to check. I took one step forward, then two, then, without thinking, rushed toward the sound. The whole time, the whispers grew louder. "It's a trap. Don't go. You'll never make it." But I didn't listen. Couldn't. Something in me told me I had to see it for myself. The further I went, the darker it got. And when I finally reached the electronics section, I saw the worst thing I've ever seen. The aisle was completely empty. The crying stopped. But there, in the far corner, was a child-sized figure hunched down in the darkness, just sitting there, motionless. "Help me," it whispered, and I did the only thing I could think of. I turned around and ran, faster than I'd ever run in my life. But the thing wasn't done with me yet. It was just getting started. I don't know how I managed to get out of that aisle without losing my mind, but I did. My legs were shaking uncontrollably, my mind racing, trying to process everything I had seen. The whispers, the eyes, the man, and now that damn child, whoever or whatever it was. I was desperate now. I needed to get to the front doors, get out, and never look back. I had to make it out of that Walmart, or I might not survive whatever was haunting it. But as I made my way through the store, I started to realize something even more terrifying. I wasn't alone anymore. The store had changed. The shelves I'd passed earlier had shifted, like they weren't in the same place anymore. It was as if the whole layout had rearranged itself. And the aisles? They seemed to stretch on forever, twisting and turning in impossible directions, like the store itself was trying to keep me inside. I ran down one aisle, then another, but no matter which direction I took, I always ended up in the same spot, back near the center of the store, staring at the register lanes. But there was no escape. The front doors remained locked, the exit sign hanging above me like a cruel joke. I was trapped, and that's when I heard it again. Footsteps, multiple sets closing in, slowly, carefully, as if they were savoring the moment. My breath hitched in my throat. I turned around to face whatever was coming for me, clutching the crowbar so tightly my knuckles turned white. The thing from earlier, the man with the empty eyes, was walking toward me, but this time, it was different. His movements were jerky, unnatural. He wasn't walking on two legs anymore. He was crawling, dragging himself along the floor, his body contorting in ways that no human body should ever move. The sound of his bones cracking as he moved sent shivers down my spine. Behind him, the shadows seemed to come alive, moving in sync with his every motion. A mass of blackness, swirling like smoke, rising from the floor and enveloping the aisles. And then I heard them, the other voices, multiple whispers, all of them chanting the same thing. "You're mine, forever." I stumbled backward, my heart racing. I had to get away, but there was nowhere to go. The store had turned into a maze, and the walls were closing in. I could feel them, the eyes watching me from the shelves, from the corners. They were everywhere. I wasn't just seeing things anymore. They were real, and they wanted me. I tried to run again, but my legs wouldn't move. It was like the store itself was holding me back, pressing against me, pushing me toward the center of the madness. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, as if they were feeding on my fear. And that's when I heard it. The click. That horrible, unmistakable sound, like the clacking of 1,000 teeth. I looked around, desperate for an escape, and saw a figure standing in the shadows, its head tilted at an impossible angle, its eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Couldn't breathe. The air felt thick, suffocating. It was all closing in. The store was alive. The things in it were alive, and they weren't letting me go. That's when I saw something that almost broke me entirely. A figure moving in the shadows behind the shelves, shifting in and out of view. It was the child, the one I thought I had left behind. But now it wasn't a child anymore. It was something worse, something twisted. Its small form was writhing, growing, becoming more monstrous with every second. It crawled on all fours, its limbs too long, its body too twisted. It stopped just in front of me, its wide, empty eyes staring up at me, its smile far too big. I could see teeth, sharp, yellow, jagged teeth, and the way it opened its mouth in a silent scream that vibrated through my bones. That's when I snapped. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't let it take me. I didn't care what I had to do. With every ounce of strength I had left, I pushed forward, forcing my legs to move, running through the aisles with no plan, no direction, just running. Behind me, I could hear them all, the clicking, the footsteps, the whispers, all chasing me, all closing in. But in that moment, I didn't care. Couldn't stop. I had to survive. I finally reached the front of the store, the registers, the doors. I slammed my shoulder against the glass, desperate to get out. I felt something grab my ankle, pulling me back, but I didn't stop. I kicked, I screamed, and finally I broke free. I burst through the door into the cold night air, stumbling out onto the parking lot, my chest heaving. I kept running, not looking back. I didn't care if the thing that chased me was still there or not. I just needed to get away. It's been weeks now, and I haven't been back to that Walmart. I don't think I ever will. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I still hear the whispers. And I know they are still out there, waiting, watching, and they'll never let me go. It's been a few months now since that night, and I've been trying to move on. But it's hard to forget something like that, especially when it doesn't leave you no matter how far you run. No matter how many nights you spend with the lights on, trying to convince yourself it was just a bad dream. But I know it wasn't, because it's still here, still following me. I don't talk about it much. Who would believe me? Who would believe that Walmart, a place meant to be safe, to be mundane, could be the site of something so horrifying? But there's a small part of me that knows it's only a matter of time before it finds me again. The thing is, I've tried to go back. Not to the store, but to my old life. I tried going to work again, trying to pretend that everything was fine. Like the night I ran out of Walmart was just another freak accident. But something happened. Something that made me realize that there's no escaping what happened that night. It started with the dreams. At first, They were just flashes, quick moments of seeing the man with the empty eyes, hearing the footsteps, feeling that cold breath on my neck. But soon it became worse. The dreams started to feel real. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding, my sheets soaked through with fear. The worst part was that I couldn't tell if I was dreaming or if it was happening all over again. One night, I woke up to the sound of footsteps in my apartment. Soft, slow, dragging. At first, I thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me. But then, I heard the whispering. You can't escape. I sat up, terrified, my body frozen in place. I reached for my phone, but the screen wouldn't turn on. The battery was dead, even though it had been fully charged just hours before. And that's when I heard it louder this time. The clicking. It was in my apartment. I couldn't move. My body was paralyzed with fear, every muscle locked in place. I wanted to scream, to run, but I knew it would do no good. I could feel the air around me growing colder, like something was standing just behind me. I could hear it breathing. It was here, in my apartment, and this time there was no escaping it. I managed to force myself to get out of bed, moving as quietly as possible. My legs were like jelly, and every step felt like it might be my last. I reached the door, but before I could open it, I felt it. Something sharp, cold, like fingers grazing my skin. I turned around, but there was nothing there. Nothing except the shadows, which seemed to be crawling toward me, closing in. The floor creaked, the walls groaned. The thing was inside, and it was waiting. I ran. I didn't even think about it. I bolted for the door, but it wouldn't open. It was stuck. My hand was shaking as I tried to twist the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I could hear it moving behind me, getting closer. The whispers had turned into full voices now. Dozens of them, all shouting the same thing. You're ours. You belong to us now. And then I felt it grabbing my wrist, its fingers cold and tight, digging into my skin. I screamed. I pulled, but it wouldn't let go. Just as I thought I was done for, the door suddenly flew open. I ran outside, barely able to think straight. My neighbors were staring at me like I was crazy, but I didn't care. I ran out into the street, into the night, as fast as I could. I didn't stop, not for a second. That night, I left everything behind. I moved out of my apartment, changed my number, my email, everything. I even considered leaving town. I had to get away from whatever was haunting me. But I've realized now there's nowhere to hide. I haven't been able to shake the feeling that I'm being watched, followed, hunted. It's like the store didn't just trap me that night. It's like it planted something inside me. A seed, a curse, and it's growing. I don't know if the man with the empty eyes is still out there, or if the child has grown into something worse, but I know one thing for sure. It's not over. It never will be. And sooner or later, it's going to come for me again. And this time, I won't be able to run. It's been almost a year since I left my apartment, since I ran from Walmart, since I tried to bury it all in the back of my mind. But no matter how far I go, no matter how many places I move to or people I try to talk to, I can't escape it. It's always there, lurking, waiting, watching. I thought I could outrun it. I thought I could outrun the things that followed me, but I was wrong. I wasn't prepared for what happened last week. Not even close. I had tried to live a normal life again, or at least as normal as I could. I moved to a new city, got a new job at a different store. Everything seemed fine at first. I thought I was finally free, but I should have known better. The signs were always there. It started with the dreams again. The man with the empty eyes, the whispers, the child. But this time, the dreams felt different. More vivid. More real. The voices, they weren't just in my head anymore. They were in my apartment, in my room. I could hear the footsteps again, slow and steady, like someone was pacing outside my door. And sometimes, I could feel something watching me as I slept. I knew it was coming. I could feel it in my bones. That familiar dread. I tried to ignore it, to tell myself it was just my imagination running wild. But deep down, I knew. And then, the unthinkable happened. I woke up one morning to a strange noise outside my door. It was faint at first, but it grew louder, like someone was scratching at the walls. I didn't want to open the door. I didn't want to look, but I couldn't stop myself. I cracked the door open, just a little, and peered out. First, I saw nothing, just the empty hallway of the apartment complex. But then, in the distance, I saw something that made my stomach drop. A figure standing at the end of the hall. The same figure, the same man, the one with the empty eyes. I slammed the door shut, my heart pounding in my chest. I backed away, my mind racing, trying to make sense of it. How was he here? That's when I heard it, the scraping sound. Closer now, almost like nails dragging across the floor. It was coming from inside my apartment. I turned around and froze. There, at the far corner of the room, was a shadow. No, not just a shadow. It was moving. I grabbed the nearest thing I could, my lamp, and swung it wildly toward the shadow, but it was gone. The room was empty again, silent, but I knew it wasn't over. The thing, whatever it was, wasn't gone. It was just getting started. That night, the whispering started again. But this time, it wasn't just in my dreams. It was in my ears, in my mind. I couldn't escape it. You're ours now. You can never leave. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get out of that apartment. I had to leave no matter the cost. I grabbed my things, whatever I could carry, and bolted out the door, not stopping to look back. I ran to my car, but when I got inside and started the engine, I saw something that made my blood freeze. In the rearview mirror, I saw the figure again, the man with the empty eyes. He was standing just outside the car, right behind me. He smiled, and that's when I realized, it's not just the store that's haunted. It's me. It's always been me. The store didn't just trap me there. It marked me, and now it's following me wherever I go. I don't know how much time I have left. I don't know how much longer I can keep running from it. But I know one thing for sure. It won't stop. It will never stop. Because once you've been marked by them, there's no escape. And I can feel them closing in no matter where I hide. No matter where I go. I'm being hunted. And sooner or later, they'll catch me. I just hope when they do, it's quick. But deep down, I know it won't be. It's been a few days since I last wrote anything down, but I can't keep running anymore. It's impossible. I've tried, God. I've tried. But it's like they always know where I am, always one step behind, always waiting. I can't even go to sleep without seeing their faces. The man with the empty eyes, that damn child twisted into something monstrous. And the whispers. The whispers are louder than ever, crawling through my thoughts, demanding to be heard, telling me over and over that there's no escape, that I'll never be free. I've been staying at a motel on the outskirts of town. It's cheap, isolated, far enough from everything, or so I thought. But I should have known better. I should have known the moment I saw that old, flickering neon sign in the distance that I wasn't safe. The first night, I heard the footsteps again. Soft at first, like someone was pacing outside my door. I didn't want to look. I knew what would happen if I did. I tried to ignore it, pulling the covers over my head, telling myself that it was just paranoia. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. It wasn't just my mind playing tricks on me. The next morning, when I went outside, I saw something that nearly broke me. Written on the wall of the motel in fresh, red paint were the words, "You belong to us. Forever." I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to feel. But one thing was clear. They were here. I packed up whatever I could, just enough to get by, and tried to leave. I drove through the night, heading south, thinking I could outrun them. But everywhere I went, there was always something that made my skin crawl. The man with the empty eyes standing at the edge of my vision. The child's laughter echoing from nowhere. The sound of something dragging behind me, just out of sight. I couldn't escape it. I couldn't escape them. I finally ended up at an old gas station in the middle of nowhere. The kind of place that's been forgotten by time. There was no one there. Just a dusty, empty lot and the flickering light above the pump. I thought I was alone. But then I saw it. The shadow. It appeared at the far end of the lot, moving slowly, unnaturally, as if it had no real shape, just the suggestion of a form. I could see it even in the dim light. Its face. The same man. The empty eyes. And behind him, the child, its body now twisted and contorted into something wrong. I froze. My heart nearly stopped. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The figure started walking toward me, and with each step, the air around me grew colder. The whispers filled my ears, louder than ever. "You are ours. You always have been. We will never let you go." I wanted to scream. I wanted to fight back, but I couldn't. I couldn't do anything. The figure was getting closer, and then I saw it. The thing behind it. Something darker, larger. Something that hadn't been there before. It was a mass of black smoke, twisting and writhing like it had a life of its own. And that's when I understood. It wasn't just a haunting. It wasn't just a curse. What I had experienced in that store at Walmart was only the beginning. This thing, this entity, was bigger than anything I could have ever imagined. It wasn't bound to the store, to that Walmart. It was something much older, much darker. Something that followed me. Something that needed me. And it was hungry. I had one choice. I didn't have the strength to run anymore. I didn't have the will to fight back. So I did the only thing left. I looked at the shadow and I accepted it. I let it in. The whispers stopped. The darkness enveloped me, swallowing everything in its path, pulling me into its cold, suffocating grip. Now, I don't know what's left. I don't know if I'm still alive or if I've been lost forever. But I do know one thing. If you're reading this, if you've found these words, know that I wasn't the first. And I won't be the last. The thing that followed me is still out there. And it's looking for more. It's waiting. And it will find you, just like it found me. And once it does, it will never let you go. I can feel it now. I don't know how to explain it. It's not just in my mind. It's in my blood, in my very bones, like a shadow that's been grafted into my skin. The whispers are quieter now, but they never really stop. They've become a part of me, woven into the fabric of my thoughts. It's like I'm walking in two worlds at once, this one and something else, something darker. I can't see it, but I can feel it pressing against me, always there. And every time I try to push it away, it gets closer. Every time I think I've escaped, it finds me again. I've tried to warn people. I've tried to tell them what happened, to show them the things that chased me, that marked me. But every time I speak about it, they don't believe me. They look at me like I'm insane. And I think, deep down, they want to believe it's just a story, just some nightmare I couldn't shake. But it's not a story. It's real. It's so damn real. I'm living proof. The man with the empty eyes? He's still out there somewhere waiting. I've seen him a few more times, always in my peripheral vision, never quite in front of me, but always there. And that child, the twisted one, it haunts my every step. It's not just a memory now. I can feel it creeping along beside me, growing stronger with every passing day. And there's something else, something even worse. The shadows. At first, I thought they were just figments of my imagination, something my mind made up as a result of the terror I'd lived through. But now I know better. The shadows move on their own. They change shape. They're alive. Last night, I woke up to a noise, something scraping against my window, something scratching the glass. I thought it was just an animal, maybe a branch in the wind, but when I looked, I saw it, the dark shape that wasn't supposed to be there, a figure in the corner of the room. Not the man, not the child, something new, something worse. It was a mass of blackness, its outline shifting like liquid, constantly changing, never still. It had no face, no body, but I knew it was watching me, waiting. I could feel its presence, crawling inside my head. And then I heard the voice again, that voice I had grown to dread. You thought you could escape. You thought you could hide. You are ours, and you always will be. It wasn't just in my mind anymore. It was real, a physical presence, a force that was pulling at my soul, dragging me back into its grasp. I tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the darkness. I tried to move, to run, but my body wouldn't respond. I was paralyzed. I could feel it crawling closer, wrapping itself around me. The whispers grew louder, more frantic. And then I heard something that almost broke me completely. Footsteps. Heavy, slow, deliberate footsteps, coming toward me from the darkness. I couldn't see them, but I could hear them, feel them getting closer. Each step was like a nail being driven into my chest. I fought as hard as I could, but I could feel myself slipping. I could feel the darkness swallowing me, consuming me piece by piece. And that's when I realized it. I wasn't going to survive this. No matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't fight it. This is how it ends. This is the point of no return. And the worst part? I know it's not over. When the darkness finally takes you, it doesn't end. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going. The cycle repeats. And I know now I'm the next one in line. I'm the one who'll bring others to this place. I don't know who's reading this or why you found it, but if you're still out there, if you still have the chance to run, run. Because once you're marked, once you step into that darkness, there's no coming back. The store, the man, the child, the shadows, they never forget. And when they find you, when they come for you, you'll be just like me. Trapped in the endless cycle. Forever. Just like me. I am the hunted. And now it's your turn. I didn't think it was possible, but the darkness has gotten worse. The whispers have grown louder, more urgent, and they're no longer confined to the corners of my mind. They're everywhere, inside the walls, inside the floors, crawling beneath my skin. I can feel them, hear them, even when I'm awake. It's like something has broken inside me, and now the store is everywhere. It's inside me. I can't escape it. I thought that maybe, just maybe, I could outrun it again. I thought I could hide in plain sight. So I moved again, new city, new identity. But every time I start to get comfortable, it finds me. The shadows have followed me. The man with the empty eyes, the child, the sounds, they don't need me to be at Walmart anymore. They've taken root inside me, and now they follow me wherever I go. Started small. Little things. Like, I'd be walking down a street, and I'd see the outline of a figure in the corner of my eye. I'd turn, and nothing would be there. Or I'd hear a sound. Something scraping or tapping. And when I checked, it was nothing. But I knew. Deep down, I knew what was happening. The night it all came to a head, I was walking back to my new apartment, minding my own business, trying to block out the ever-present anxiety that has become my constant companion. I was so close to my door when I heard it. That sound. The soft click of footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate, purposeful. Just like the way it started before. I stopped, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew what this meant. I didn't have to turn around to know who it was. But I did anyway. And when I turned, there was no one there. Just the empty street. But something had changed. There was a dark figure standing at the far end of the block, barely visible in the shadows, but I could see it clearly. It was him, the man with the empty eyes. And beside him, like a shadow of the child, was a distorted shape. A twisted form of something I couldn't even describe. It wasn't human anymore. It was a mockery. They were waiting for me. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. It was like I was rooted to the ground. Couldn't breathe. I couldn't escape. I felt that familiar coldness creeping up my spine, suffocating me, and all I could hear was the whispering. The voices were clearer now, almost like they were speaking in unison, echoing in my ears. You belong to us. You will never escape. You will never leave. I couldn't think straight. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't make a sound. My mind was spinning, and I felt like I was going to collapse right there in the street. But then, it spoke. The thing. The entity that has been hunting me all this time. It didn't use words. It didn't need to. I could feel it. Its presence. Its hunger. It was like it was speaking directly to my soul. I heard its voice, but it wasn't a sound. It was a feeling. A horrible, crushing weight that forced me to understand. You are a part of this now. You are one of us. Forever. And just like that, it all clicked into place. It wasn't just the store that was haunted. It wasn't just the man with the empty eyes or the child. They were part of something bigger. Something ancient. The store, Walmart, that place where I thought I could work and be safe was just a doorway. It was never meant to trap people like me. It was meant to bring them in. To bring us in. And now I realize I've been chosen. The shadows have marked me, and there's no going back. No escape. I tried. I ran. I hid. but I can't run anymore. It's here. It's always been here, inside me, and I am its vessel. I hear it now, too, the scratching, the tapping, the clicking. It's not just outside. It's in my walls. It's beneath the floorboards. It's inside me, crawling under my skin. I don't have much time left. I can feel it. If you've been reading this, if you've gotten this far, know that you're not alone. This thing, it's hunting, just waiting for you. It won't stop until it finds you. So please take this as a warning. If you ever find yourself near a Walmart, if you ever feel that strange chill on the back of your neck, or hear the faint whispers in the air, know that it's already too late. It's already watching you. You've been marked. You can try to run, but you won't escape. And when the shadows finally find you, when they claim you, just remember, there's no going back. You're one of us now, and we never leave. I don't know how much time has passed. Hours? Days? The concept of time has become meaningless. The moment I let the darkness in, the moment I accepted it, everything shifted. It's like the world around me no longer exists the way it did before. It's all a shadow, a half-remembered nightmare that I can't shake. No matter how much I try, I'm trapped in it now, caught in the cycle of waiting. Waiting for the inevitable. Waiting for them to finally come for me. And there's nothing I can do to stop it. I still see the figure in the corner of my eye sometimes. Just a flicker of motion. A shadow that shouldn't be there. I don't look anymore. I don't even acknowledge it. Because I know it's not just him, the man with the empty eyes. It's them all. The things from the store. The things that have followed me, hunting me, feeding on my fear. They've become a part of me. Part of this place. I've tried to go outside, but it doesn't matter. The world feels different now. The air is thick, suffocating. I feel the weight of it pressing down on me, like something is constantly watching me. The whispers never stop. They're inside the walls. They're in the ground beneath my feet. They crawl through the cracks in my mind. And every day they're growing louder. I can hear the footsteps again. Soft at first, like someone walking around my apartment. But every time I look, there's nothing. Just empty air. Just silence. The child's laughter. The scraping. The sound of claws against wood. The clicking of the figure's slow, deliberate steps. They're all part of the same game now. It's like a sickening ritual. A dance of shadows. I've been here for so long that I've stopped caring about leaving. I don't even try to escape anymore. I've accepted that they'll come for me when they're ready, and there's nothing I can do about it. But there's something else. Something new. Every so often, I hear someone I don't recognize, whisper my name. It's soft at first, barely audible, but it's there. Jake. It's always my name. The voice is so familiar, but I can't place it. It sounds like someone I used to know, someone I cared about. I can't shake the feeling that they're out there, just beyond the edge of my vision, waiting to find me, waiting for the moment when I'm weak enough to be claimed. The problem is, I'm starting to feel weak. I can't think straight. The hunger inside me is growing. The need to run, to hide, to escape is becoming harder and harder to ignore. But I know the truth now. There's no escape. Not anymore. And now, every time I close my eyes, I see it. The store. I see Walmart with its long, endless aisles stretching on and on. But this time, it's different. The aisles are filled with shadows, crawling over the shelves, hiding in the corners. The familiar aisles are now a maze, a twisted reflection of what it used to be. I don't know if this is a dream. I don't know if I'm still awake. All I know is that the moment I walk into that store, I'm not leaving. The worst part? I know that when they find me, they won't take me right away. No, they'll make me wait. They'll make me suffer before they drag me into the dark with them. I can feel it deep in my gut. The hunger, the darkness, just waiting for me. And sooner or later, I'll have to face it. When the shadows come, when the whispers get loud enough, I'll know it's time. And when they take me, when they finally claim me, I'll become just like them. I'll be another part of the darkness, another whisper, another shadow. And you, if you've been reading this far, then you've already heard their call. You've felt it even if you don't want to admit it. The store knows you. It's watching. and soon it will find you. You'll become a part of the endless hunt. Just like me. I've been waiting for so long. I don't know if I'm even myself anymore. The line between waking and dreaming has blurred. The darkness has swallowed me whole. But as I sit here, in this twisted, hollow place, I can feel it. They're coming. It's no longer a whisper. It's a roar. A scream inside my head, reverberating through my bones, through my very soul. It's funny, really. I used to think I had a choice. I thought that I could fight it, that I could escape, outrun it, leave it all behind. But the truth is, I was always meant to be here. I was always meant to be one of them. The shadows, the whispers, the things in the dark. They knew this from the moment I first stepped foot into that Walmart. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was just bad luck. But I know now that it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I can hear the footsteps now, soft and measured, getting closer. The sound of claws on the floor. The man with the empty eyes is here, and this time I don't look away. I don't turn and run. I don't scream. I let him come. It's funny how quickly everything falls away when you stop fighting. The fear fades, replaced by something else. A cold certainty. A knowing that no matter what I do, no matter how much I try to change it, it will end the same way. The shadows are all around me now. I can't see them, but I can feel them. They're inside me, beneath my skin. They've been there since the beginning. They always were. And as the man with the empty eyes steps closer, I hear the voice again. The one that has been speaking to me from the start. The one that never stopped whispering, that never stopped calling. You're one of us now. Forever. The child's twisted laughter fills the air, and I can feel something crawling inside me. The hunger, the darkness. It's pulling me in. I don't resist anymore. I don't fight. I let it take me, and when I do, I understand. I understand everything. The store, the shadows, the whispers, they were never just about me. They were never just about the people it chose. No, they were about the cycle. The endless, unbroken cycle. Those who are marked, those who are chosen, will never escape. I was never meant to be free. None of us are. I've become part of the darkness now. Part of the hunt. The thing that has been following me, that has been stalking all of us, is waiting for the next one to take my place. It will find them just like it found me. The shadows will claim them just as they claimed me. And this is how it always will be. Forever. The cycle doesn't end. Never ends. And now I understand. The Walmart, the store, it's not just a building. It's a doorway. A door that's always open, waiting for the next victim to walk through. And once you step inside, you never leave. The end. Or perhaps the beginning of something worse.